defeat this year. That's my badge, that's what I've got, and she is doing everything that she can. My opponent raised $505,000 this quarter, so they're in. The very first time I ran for Congress, Speaker Pelosi spent $9.6 million to defeat me. This is in a House race in Minnesota. We've got 4.5 million people in the whole state, and she's spending this kind of money. Last time it was $5 or $6 million that she spent, and so they're up for it again. And it was just announced this week that the League of Conservation Voters, the kind of radical extremists on the enviro side, may have made me their #1 target to get rid of this year. Emily's List, I think, just raised $86,000 this month against me. So they're in. They are all in to make sure that I go down. And I decided, just to spite them, I'm going to win in November. And I was out yesterday and I got a phone call. This is an honest to God true story. And I got a call from ABC News. They wanted me to be on ABC News last night with Jake Tapper on World News Tonight. And they said that Bill Clinton gave a speech yesterday, the former president, at the Center for American Progress, John Podesta's group. And he gave a speech and he called me out in his speech. And he was talking about the anniversary. Now, only Democrats would do this. The anniversary of the Oklahoma City bombing with Tim McVeigh. Right. I mean, like, we don't celebrate these things. You know, this is not what we celebrate. So he was at this celebration, supposedly. And so he brought me up, and he was talking about how all of the extremist rhetoric in the early 90s led to Tim McVeigh. See, it had nothing to do with Tim McVeigh. It was just the conservatives. That's what the problem was. And so he was making the analogy that Michele Bachmann had made a statement the day before during the Tea Party rallies that what Barack Obama is doing is gangster government. And he said, because I am using a term like gangster government, I'm responsible for creating the kind of a climate of hate that could lead to another Tim McVeigh and another Oklahoma City bombing. How do you like that happening?
Nonsense.
So I decided, well, this is going to be fun. This is going to be fun. So I am nothing. I'm on the bottom of the food chain. I'm in the minority party. I'm in my second term as a congresswoman. And the former president of the United States decides I'm important enough to take out. So I thought, thank you very much. Wonderful. Thank you. And so anyway, I think this is a lovely discussion. And I think it's going to go on for a long time if I have anything to say about it. And we're going to keep it on. Because this is a gangster government. There is no two ways about it.
Amen.
If you take a look at the fact, and if you heard me earlier this morning, please bear with me, but this is absolutely stunning, but all of you should know this, that throughout the history of our country, we have been, for more or less, a private economy. We are a private economy. We're proud of it. We're proud of free markets and capitalism, and although it's been compromised, especially in the last 50 years, we've generally been a private economy. Well, unfortunately, under a Republican president, we had a bailout, $700 billion TARP bailout. Trust me, I begged my colleagues to vote no on this bailout. I begged Hank Paulson on this bailout as well, and to no avail. It went through, but I voted no on the thing. Well, what the bailout did is provide walking around money, essentially, for Barack Obama. Actually, it's been his walking around money, but it started under George Bush, and it allowed the federal government to purchase private industry in the United States. If you want a story of what has happened in the United States from the inception of Bailout Nation to today, the story is the federal government takeover of private industry. And this is just a picture that is stunning to me. I read the stories on the front page of the Washington Times last July, and it's an economist from Arizona State University. And I thought, Katie Couric doesn't talk about this. Brian Williams doesn't talk about this. George Stephanopoulos, none of these people are talking about this. This is kind of a story, I think. Because from the inception of Bailout Nation, your federal government took that $700 billion and they bought the largest banks in the United States. We are equity share owners of Bank of America, Citibanks, and a whole list of banks after that. We're also the owner of AIG, the largest insurance company in the United States. We've poured quite a bit of billions down AIG. So we own the largest banks, the largest insurance company. We also purchased Freddie and Fannie, the largest secondary mortgage backers in the United States. The federal government now outright owns over half of all private residential mortgages in the United States. The federal government owns them. If you go out to buy a house today, nine chances out of 10, you're having to buy your loan through the federal government for your home. So the federal government's going to own basically all the new houses going up. They already own well over half today. So the federal government owns largest banks, largest insurance company, more than half of all the houses in the United States, and all the rest of them are going to be coming online in the future. If that doesn't make your blood boil enough, then consider that it was about something under $20 billion that the President made available at Barack Obama's request while he was President-elect Barack Obama, the Automobile Task Force Fund.
Yep.
Out of that money, the federal government bought the two largest automobile companies in America, GM, which is more aptly known as Government Motors, so GM and Chrysler. And the bondholders in Chrysler were, so to speak, nailed on their ownership rights as investors in Chrysler. Because 150 years of bankruptcy law was eviscerated, and so people who had an investment interest in their bonds in Chrysler were hosed. Because the president, in fact, they were more than hosed, the president castigated those bondholders and told them they were greedy because they resisted the president, because the president wanted to take their interest and give it to the UAW, which he did. And so now the unions effectively own Chrysler, and they've got ownership stake also in GM, but we own GM. And so why do you think we're hearing so much about Toyota these days? Why do you think, gee, the competition, we better do something about the competition. So here we are, largest banks, largest insurance company, over half of all home mortgages, the two largest car companies in America, and Henry Waxman wants to bring in the Toyota dealers so he can grill them over because he wants to run them out of business. Then what else do we own? Then the student loan industry. We took that over, lock, stock, and barrel. Unless you are one little bank up in North Dakota, you are prohibited by law from offering student loans anymore in this country. We nationalized that sucker and then took over health care, 18% of the economy. So consider this. In 18 months' time, we have gone from 100% of the private economy, private, to the federal government now effectively owning outright or controlling 51% of the private economy. Do I have your attention?
Mm-hmm.
51% of the private economy. And they think Tea Party people are kooks? I mean, there is a reason why people on 2 days' notice will drop everything, run to Washington, D.C., and hold up signs. And these people are angry because people hold up signs that make fun out of them. You see, to the Democrats, violence is when the American people want to topple them from positions of political power. That's what they call violence, because their goose is just about cooked. If only we could hold the election right now, this afternoon, right now, President Obama would be out the door so fast. It'd be a one-way ticket. He wouldn't make it over the border. There'd be border police, I'm telling you. He is not well liked right now. So Barack Obama and Pelosi's gal gone, and same with Harry Reid, done. I really believe that that same level of attitude will remain through November. I am not worried. I think the American people have made a decision. They looked at Barack Obama and they said, guess we made a wrong bet. That's where they are. It isn't, and there are so many disaffected Democrats, independents, conservatives, libertarians, your Constitution Party. I mean, we have got probably the most united umbrella of agreement that I remember. I just turned 54 last week. In my lifetime, I have never seen this level of political agreement over this large swath of a political group. The most diverse political group you can imagine. United under, we don't like what those people are selling. And they agreed with the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. This is a very cool crowd of people. we can do business here with this group of people. And I am very excited about moving forward what we've got